How's it going, everybody? It's Captain Solomon here, and I'm here to review the April 23rd edition of Raw. Apparently the 1300th episode, which is fantastic for Raw. Yeah, let's just dive right into it. We start off with the 10-bell salute for Bruno Sammartino. Yeah, he was actually from Pittsburgh, which is where I live around. So I'm very familiar with who he is and like what he was very into the area. Like he loved Pittsburgh. There's a great, if you get a chance, there's a fantastic piece that just went up right after Raw called Bruno. It's like a documentary about him. It's really, really, really good. I would suggest watching it if you got the time and if you like wrestling. So yeah, they do the salute, and there's a fantastic video package. After that, though, we get Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman coming down to the ring. It's classic Paul Heyman. It's just what you want from him. He talks about how he assumes that people are upset because he might come and gloat about what Brock Lesnar did at WrestleMania, and then he confirms all that you are 100% right, that Brock Lesnar does not focus on that stuff, but he does, and he will gloat for him, and it'll mean nothing to Brock, but he's still going to do it because Brock is the monster that he is. He then, proceeds to say that, everyone should know that it was Brock that wanted the cage match, not Roman Reigns, which is clever. I like that idea. I mean, it makes sense because he wants to be in the octagon so bad. He wants to fight like a UFC fight so bad that he wants to just get a hold of Roman in a cage. That's a smart plan, smart move, writing-wise. Eventually, you do see Roman Reigns come out. No physical confrontation. He just gets in the ring. Long story short, tells him that he doesn't know how he's getting back from Saudi Arabia at the Greatest Royal Rumble, but he is coming back with the title. It was enough. I'm not particularly excited for the match. I just want Roman to get the title and be done with it. I want to see where we can move on from there. But who knows if, maybe they'll switch a curveball on us again, but I'm not really sure. So yeah, then after that, there's not like a whole lot, between those two. After that, we get Elias walking out. He's going to be having his match against Bobby Roode, and Bobby Roode interrupts the concert opportunity from Elias. Thought that was an interesting choice. And it's a decent enough match, plenty fine TV match, but a little bit of a strange finish. It was just like he pulled him face first into the top rope, and it led to like a roll up, just a deep roll up too. It wasn't like pulled the tights or anything, just a deep roll up pin, and it was Elias that pulled up the win against Bobby Roode. It doesn't really hurt Bobby Roode. It doesn't really help Elias. I don't know what this really did. And that's kind of what I feel for a lot of things that happened throughout the night. Like, nothing really felt like, as of right now, solidified anything. And I think it's just because we're in that weird week before this special, like, kind of the world's biggest house show that is the Greatest Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia. But, nothing really felt important, and that was another situation of just, nothing, like, it didn't affect much. Then we get a Matt Hardy promo, obviously also includes Bray Wyatt. Yeah, I like it. I'm a fan of this gimmick. I like their entrance and all that stuff where it's like a weird combination of the two. They are going to, they do a promo and they talk about the fact that they're going to get the tag team titles, and then it leads to a match against Victor and Connor, the Ascension, one of the newest groups to come over from SmackDown. Pretty pedestrian match, nothing too exciting. We do see that I believe they call themselves the Deleter of Worlds, which is a fantastic name for the combo. They do pick up the win with their like assisted twist of fate type finisher. Nothing to say about it. It's giving them more steam rolling into the Greatest Royal Rumble. It's all but a certainty that they're going to win the titles because it'd be weird for a SmackDown team to win the Raw Tag Team Championships, but who knows? Again, I'm not exactly sure where things are going to fall. I have my predictions, which I will be giving you later this week, but we'll get into that later. And then after that, we do get the Sammy and Kevin show, the Kevin and Sammy show. I believe it was Sammy and Kevin show. We get the Sammy and Kevin show, first ever. Apparently it's the takeover for Miz TV. I like it. I just like these two anyway when they talk. They're very good on the microphone. And their first guest is Kurt Angle. I'm not going to go too into depth about the whole segment. There was some good parts in there. One of the things I really liked was when Sammy again pulled out the glasses and was reading the list, trying to figure out if Kurt had 5 kids or 6 kids. And Kevin goes, that's the mistake you made right there. You forgot Jason Jordan. And Sammy goes, you know what? That's okay. For 20-some years, so did Kurt. And I thought that was just clever. What a jab. I really liked that. This whole thing just builds up to Kurt deciding that, he's going to, first of all, be in the 50-man Rumble match at the Greatest Royal Rumble, but also that he wants to get, a little payback tonight as well. So he puts them in a tag team match against Bobby Lashley and Braun Strowman. Another segment where I'm just feeling like Raw has too many stars right now, and it's going to be tough to see where things shake out. It's still a little early to judge them, but I feel like they just got too much and they don't know what to do with who yet. So then after that, we get a backstage segment with Seth Rollins, and it is Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas show up, and it's clear that they're trying to get their now that the Miz is gone, they need somebody else to lead them. So they show up with Burn It Down shirts, and they are trying to say that they could be like the new Shield and all this other stuff. And Seth Rollins does give them a hard no, just leaves them hanging with the fist bumps out. Like, that's it. It is what it is. I really like the segment. I'm curious, like, where they fall in the future. But this isn't the last we see of them on Raw, as we will go over a little later. After that, we get Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler. They come out to have a match against Titus Worldwide. It's a pretty short match overall. It's exactly what you expect. It is Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler that pick up the win with the Claymore Zigzag combo. I also want to mention there was a spot where he had Apollo Crews in the Alabama Slam position, and Ziggler does like a low super kick to the side of his head before Drew McIntyre plants him with the Alabama Slam. I really like that spot. It's not something you see too often. I thought that was really neat. I like the dynamic that these two have, but again, it's tough to get on board because it involves Dolph Ziggler, and I'm not sure where it's going to go. It's almost like anybody that comes up from NXT has to go through Ziggler in some way sometime, and this is just kind of the way they're doing it now. After the match, they do have an interview. I did like what McIntyre had to say. I like that he accused the locker room of being soft, and that he is the wake-up call, the reality check that this industry needs, that he's not what WWE wants. I like it. It's a good angle. We'll see what comes of it in the future, but for right now, beating Titus Worldwide doesn't say a lot for me. After that, we get Angle talking to Chad Gable back in the back. He tells him he isn't here to see him in tag team action. He's here because he thinks he could be a fiery singles competitor, which I'd like to see. I think Chad Gable can claw like he wants to do, scratch and claw his way through Raw. This leads to Jinder Mahal showing up, giving some bad bully style insults. At first saying, I did laugh, I admit I laughed, that wow, it's such short time since WrestleMania, and you've gained a lot of muscle and stuff. You grew up fast. You're Nicholas. You're the little kid that won the tag titles. That's amazing. I really liked that because, it was clever. It was funny. The other one was a little too soon, whenever he mentioned Mini-Me had just passed away, Vern Troyer. A little too soon. Come on. Even for you, WWE. Jinder just doesn't come across as that type of heel to me. I like when he sounds like he's entitled. I like that more for him. This leads to a little bit of a shove in the back, and then eventually a match out in the ring, which I thought was a really, really good match. The end comes off of Jinder about to hit the Colossus, and Gable runs towards the rope. I don't know what the whole plan was, or if that was the exact plan, but he kind of runs up and just pushes off to cause Jinder to fall backwards with him, and it leads into a shoulders pinned roll-up style move. It was interesting enough. I liked it. I like the fighty, the scrappy nature of the finish, and it makes him feel like he's just somebody that's going to do what he can to win. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be pretty. And again though, what does it mean for anything in the future? Not much right now, unless Jinder wins the United States title back or something, in which case that's weird, unless Samoa Joe wins the Intercontinental. I don't know, we'll discuss that again down the road. But it's a very interesting concept. But for right now, again, it doesn't say much going forward yet. And it's just kind of a lot of what happened on Raw tonight. So then after that, we get a Riot Squad promo backstage. It's all 3 members of the Riot Squad, and they all get a bit to talk, and they all do surprisingly well. Usually it's just Riot that does very well. Ruby Riot. This time, Liv Morgan and they all got some lines in. I like the Liv Morgan. I just like the group. I like the group altogether. It was a good promo. I like the tear gas segment mention as well about how like it leaves everybody crying and choking and gasping for help, and how that's what they are. That's what they do to the women's division. I liked it. And also how they even took shots at their own teammates ahead of time. So it was plenty good. But then after that, we end up getting a hard cam, like a hand cam rather, promo from Samoa Joe. Again, very good because it's Samoa Joe and he always cuts good promos. I don't know why we're getting this on, other than the fact that they have a match at Backlash. I don't understand why it's happening on Raw, especially with Joe on SmackDown now. It just doesn't make sense to me. But I did like the part where he said that he's afraid he's not going to have an opponent at Backlash because he knows what Roman's saying, but he's pretty sure that Brock's just gonna leave Reigns buried in the Arabian Desert. Thought that was good. It other people could say that and it wouldn't feel legit, but when Joe says stuff like that, it sounds pretty legit. Joe's an intimidating dude, just straight up. So yeah, we get that promo and it is what it is. It's building towards Backlash, which is a good thing. And then we get the, I guess the Miztourage again. We get, Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel. This time, they've come to Finn Balor, looking for some sort of, team up. He wants to ally with them. They reveal that they have the Balor Club shirts. They try to do the Too Sweet, and Finn Balor obviously isn't on board with this. Thanks, but no thanks. He then not only, instead of leaving him hanging like Rollins did, he walks up and he puts their Too Sweets down, stop it, just get out of here, and then walks away. This leads Dallas to ask Axel if he's thinking, are you thinking what I'm thinking? And Curtis has no idea what he's thinking. So, it was good enough. I really liked it. I enjoyed it. Again, I just like seeing what these two are doing. I'm curious where it leads. They're a funny act. I like them together. They're a decent comedy act. So let's see where it leads us later. Then we get the tag match of Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Really awesome match, fantastic. Love the Braun Strowman hot tag, the lariats into the attack outside to the lariat to the attack, and to the drop kick on Kevin Owens. Really good hot tag from Braun, and Braun just putting on a show. I did like the delayed vertical suplex onto Sami Zayn. Was nice. Bobby Lashley looking impressive. Ends with a power slam on Sami Zayn. And we see that Bobby Lashley and Braun Strowman do pick up the win, as kind of expected. After that, No Way Jose comes out, dancing with this whole group down on the ramp. And they come on down, and he's going to have a match against Baron Corbin. However, Baron Corbin says that, that posse of people running up there, they are just going to attack him whenever, he's grinding him into the mat. So, he talks No Way Jose into, leaving, with the posse, get him out of here. Jose is just hey, listen, just because you don't want to, doesn't mean we gotta stop the party just because of you. So they go to dance and leave, and they dance their way back up the ramp. This leads to Baron Corbin attacking No Way Jose, slamming him into the LED wall, and stuff like that. I apologize for my cat. If you heard her, she's very vocal tonight. So yeah, after all of that, Baron Corbin jumps him. Again, don't know where it's leading. I still have no idea with that one. We then get a little segment where Alexa says that, everyone should turn on Nia. Here's her logic. Alexa Bliss, one time when her and Nia were hanging out, they saw a homeless woman. So Alexa Bliss, out of the goodness of her heart, gave the homeless woman her burrito bowl that she was eating. And Nia Jax, this big bully, took that burrito bowl and scarfed it down right in front of her face. Alexa cannot forget the sound of Nia Jax just laughing and chewing that burrito bowl. And it was just, and Alexa didn't do anything, and now she's got to live with that for the rest of her life. And she's upset about that. It's just really good Alexa Bliss, in all honesty. It's very good. She's trying to get everyone to do the right thing and turn on Nia, because Nia is the worst person in the world. We then get our Finn Balor and Seth Rollins match versus the Miztourage, and I'm not going to discuss it too much. Finn and Seth get the win pretty easily. I guess it was just a space filler to break up some stuff between the women's match, because then after that, we get like a Superstar Court type thing where Natalya and them are all like talking to Nia about the situation, and Nia does mention that it's a PSA that it is bad for your health if you pick on Nia Jax. And I believe it. I absolutely believe it. I'm never going to pick on Nia Jax in my life. I'm not that stupid. So, it just kind of leads to that whole segment. It was plenty fine. We do get more tension between Sasha and Bayley, but what does that even mean anymore? It's just been such a poorly written, terribly constructed, feud. I think one of them should have been moved to the other show and just scrapped the whole idea, but they didn't. Here we are. So, then this leads to the main event. Our main event is a 5-on-5 women's tag team match. The babyfaces, that happens to be Bayley, Ember Moon, Natalya, Nia Jax, Sasha Banks, going against the heel group, which is the Riot Squad of Liv Morgan, Ruby Riott, and Sarah Logan, as well as Mickie James and Alexa Bliss. And plenty good match. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was, a really good showing from the women's division, which that's old news at this point. They've always are upping their game and improving. I don't like the way it ends. The match ends up ending when we get Ronda Rousey coming down to the ring to help out her friend Natalya after a bunch of chaos happens, and Mickie James runs around the ring to attack Natalya on the outside. So obviously, since Natalya and Ronda Rousey are friends, Natalya trained Ronda Rousey, they decide to, she goes to help her, and this leads to a basement drop kick from Mickie James. Ronda obviously is not going to take that lying down, so she gets in the ring and throws Mickie James into the armbar. This causes the disqualification, meaning that the heel team of the Riot Squad, Alexa Bliss and Mickie James, do pick up the win. And then it just ends with Natalya and Ronda Rousey up on the top of the ramp, as she walks up with her up the ramp. And it's building to what I'm assuming is going to be the heel turn of Natalya turning on Ronda, which makes sense. I also think that'll be a good feud and it'll be a good match for Ronda Rousey, as the technical skill of Natalya will really hide any of the shortcomings that Ronda Rousey has while she's still new and still really getting into WWE wrestling, because it's a big difference than fighting in UFC. So anyway, that was Raw. It took about 18-19 minutes or so to review, because there was a lot to technically talk about, a lot of segments and stuff like that. The wrestling, there was still plenty of those, but it was a lot of short matches. I kind of hope that this isn't the future of Raw. I hope we don't get just a bunch of drama with a few quick matches. I like when we get matches that do last a bit and actually feel important. But again, nothing on this show felt super important. If I had to give it a rating, 3 out of 5 is what I would give it. I think I'm going to start doing that from now on for my Raw and SmackDown reviews. I'm going to kind of give my personal out of 5 review score. I'm going to say 3 out of 5. It felt like a lot of just filler. Nothing felt super meaningful except for the start of the show between Brock and Roman. You could say the Ronda stuff at the end was important, possibly for the future. But nothing else felt like it meant anything for what's going on with Backlash or the Greatest Royal Rumble, at least to any important degree. But maybe I'm completely wrong. What's your opinion on Raw? Was it a 5 out of 5, perfect masterpiece? Do you like what they've been doing with Ronda Rousey and Natalya? Do you think that's a good little feud? What about Bray Wyatt and Matt? Do you feel it's a good tag team and they deserve the titles, or is it maybe too soon to put the titles on them as a tag team? Any opinion on those, or anything else for that matter, put it down in the comments below. I read every comment. I try to respond to a few of them if I can. And I care. I care what you guys have to say. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do. I would love it. And, that way you can see, every video that I put out. I plan to be putting out a few videos a week, and hopefully this actually sticks this time, because it's been a while. So, with all that being said, I will be back tomorrow with a SmackDown review. I've been Captain Solomon. You guys have been awesome. Take it easy.